So, okay, so I'll edit this later, get all the other stuff out. Let me talk about this game. This game is called V Rising. It is a... How to talk about it? It's an ARPG slash survival game, a la like Valheim and Rust. And basically, the main kind of pattern in the game is that you go out, you defeat bosses, which improve your character's abilities. You go out and you know, grind out items. You're going to go collect wood and stone and other materials to build out your castle and to build out other types of things. Let me actually move this chat over here so I can actually read it now. All wrapped in this like extremely complex combat mode. It's been incredibly fun, like incredibly fun. The combat is extremely dynamic, so if you're watching, basically, I have a movement ability, I have 2 standard abilities, I have an ultimate ability, and all of these things are customizable with kind of loadout. So if you look at my loadout here, I've got different styles, similar like Diablo 3, where you have like these different kind of styles of how you're set up. But you think about it, right? I have 1 travel ability I can equip. I have 5 different versions. Now, to be honest, these travel abilities are pretty similar, but they all do have different effects bundled with the traveling ability. Then you have 23 different basic abilities. So you can only equip 2 at a time when you go fight, and it's pretty hard to like do it mid-battle, so you pretty much are going to be picking your loadout of 2 different abilities to work with at a time. And there's a lot of variety. A lot of them are just ranged shots with different abilities, but that's not all of them. There's some shields, there's some counters, there's some melee moves, so there's some like adaptation there as well. And then you have an ultimate ability out of the 10 available ultimate abilities. And so there's actually a lot of variety, and the way that the game plays out is the combat is moving with your keyboard. So I'm doing WASD to move. And then all of your abilities are shot based on your mouse. So it's kind of like a twin stick shooter, or like Dota or League of Legends when you do skill shots. But there's no point and click attacking at all. But as I'm attacking, I'm having to dodge attacks, you know, jump in and out of combat, especially when you get into like boss fights. There's often like really complex patterns you have to work around. So it's like quite intense, honestly, for a game like this, and especially for an early access game. I was really surprised at how deep and complex the combat already is. One thing you'll also notice, and I'll talk about this a little bit, is these enemies all have a different type of blood and a different percentage. What that means... Let me just quickly kill this guy, because he's got really crappy blood. Let me just shoot you there, my friend. Okay, let me just jump in and kill him. What this basically means is the blood type and the percentage is a passive effect depending on what blood type you last drank and the quality that you last drank. The quality affects how powerful the effect is, and the type affects what type of effect it is. So we're going to kill this guy and drink his blood, because he's got pretty high quality, certainly higher than my 23%. So we're going to go ahead and feed on him. And you'll see now we switched to 47%, and that 47% gets me basically halfway up the bar. The cap is 100%. And I now have a chance to critical strike with weapons, increased chance, and I have extra movement speed. And that will last as long as I have blood. Now, the blood will eventually run out. You don't get to have these improvements permanently. It's really only until you run out, and then you're going to be forced to drink new blood. Now, in case you're stuck in the middle of nowhere and there's no enemies with blood, you can always do things like eating rats or eating hearts. However, they don't have any passive effects. You're going to lose your passive bonus if you have to resort to eating rats or hearts. Then there's things like skeletons. Skeletons don't have any heart, right? So they have no blood. And so they actually cannot be drank from. But basically all animals, all living creatures, for the most part, can be drank for their blood, and there are different effects depending on what you drank. Bosses also can be drank for their blood, but their blood, rather than giving you a passive effect, gives you a permanent effect, both in terms of unlocking new crafting abilities and giving you these skills that I showed you earlier. You also have different kinds of vampire powers, things like I can turn into a wolf, which lets me run faster past enemies. I can turn into a bear, which kind of lets me have this really strong bear form, which is kind of funny. Stomp these guys. Eventually I'll be able to turn into a bat. That's been shown in the trailer. And in addition, I can do things like have a dominating presence. This allows me to take a human and turn them into my servant and bring them back to my castle. Speaking of, let's take a quick trip back to the castle here, and I can show you a little bit about the crafting and the survival mechanic. Let's go ahead and turn into wolf form. We're going to just kind of run through the forest on our way back to the castle. But that's the other part of it. So you'll see I've been collecting, as I've been out here, I've been collecting animal hides and bones and fibers and wood. You can mine stone and copper and iron and other kinds of things. And all of that contributes to you being able to build up your own castle. Now, Vampire Survivors is played out on a small density server. So at most you can have 40 players on a server at a time. You can play on an official server, although I will say they are quite full right now, or you can play on a private server like I do. So I am renting a server for all of my YouTube members and Twitch subscribers to play on if they want. We have quite a few that have come. You can see some of these castles that other people have been building on the server. And this is a PvP server, meaning that I can go ahead and try to break into somebody's castle, and if I do, I can take all their stuff. Now, there's also a hardcore PvP server, and the main difference is, while I can break into people's building or castles and steal their stuff, and I can kill them and take their resources that they had on them, what I can't do is I can't destroy their castle, and I can't take over their castle. But in a hardcore PvP server, you can. Does this say... I didn't say it. Did I say Vampire Survivors? Sorry, V Rising. It's been a long day, guys. I've been streaming for 11 hours before this. So now I'm into my castle. So you can build up your own, like, custom castle exactly how you want. There's a lot of different things you build inside of it that have different effects. I have an altar that allows me to track the different bosses throughout the game. I can do different research, like I can research this new assortment of windows, but new weapons and armor and magic. I can convert blood into like more refined blood. I can craft different types of items through alchemy and things like that. So it's really quite in-depth. There's already a lot of content in this already, which was a surprise to me. Especially day one early access, there's a ton of stuff to do. You can see here's my helper Gregors, who's defending my castle and holding some items for me. And what keeps my castle safe is the castle walls and the heart. As long as the heart is beating, the castle will defend itself. If the heart runs out of blood essence, then the castle will start to deteriorate, and it's much, much easier to invade. Now you'll see I've got enough blood essence inside of my castle to last for 5 days and 12 hours. So you're pretty well protected as long as you keep yourself topped off. But that is the danger. And even while it's well protected, it's still possible that a group of vampires working together could break into my castle and steal all my stuff. So that part of it becomes kind of fun. You can fight each other, you can raid each other, you can work together, you can do co-op. There are, you can see here, I've created a clan. Nobody's in my clan yet because I don't have any friends, but if I had friends, they could join my clan and we could share the castles that we build together and help each other out, go raiding other players or go fighting bosses together. But I think the core part of the game that really needed to sell it for me was the gameplay combat system, which as I said, I'm really loving. I think it's a lot of fun. very dynamic. There are some bosses that have been a little bit less fun to fight against, but for the most part, it's been really fun to kind of figure out enemy patterns and work around them, and then choose whether I'm going to be a coward and constantly use my crossbow or get nitty-gritty into the game. I would 100% play this on a private server. That would be my recommendation. I would find friends and just fight each other and have fun. I think that would be the best way to play. I've had a lot of fun already. I haven't had too much interaction with the subs that have been building, but I would say we're all relatively new in the game. But I'm excited to like start doing some more PvP stuff later on. Also, you can have a mount. So I have my horse here. He does make me run fast. And then the typical vampire things, like you saw right then. If you're out in sunlight, your guy's gonna burn. He's gonna take sunlight damage. So you have to make sure you're not standing out in the sun all the time like this. Oh. Get back into the shade, or just make sure you're traveling at night. You can convert blood that you've drank back into HP at any time. And then a lot of it's just exploring and building out your stuff, which I think is quite fun. So I think you can probably tell, I've been really enjoying the game. I think it's quite fun. I think it's really good. It's $20, which I feel like is a very low barrier to entry. But I'm curious, those of you that have been playing it, what do you think? Are you also enjoying it so far? What would you like to see them add or do different as they continue to develop the game? What do you think are your favorite parts? But for now, this has been Nate, and hope you guys enjoyed this short video. And for those that got to see the part where I wasn't talking for 15 minutes, thanks for sticking through it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.